Hey guys, Crumbley Reacts 1234 here. I'm back after a long while. Sorry for all of that. Listen, I'm here to react to part 2 of Respawn Raccoon's video called The Minecraft Accident that Destroyed Everything, part 2. And I'm not gonna react to the whole movie that he made about this. Sorry about that, Respawn. But I'm going to react to it right after I give you a little telling about why I've been gone. Respawn won't know what this is about, but it's just I'm having a hard day. Everyone knows about the Alexei accident. Alexei Grasimov, the creator of Skippy Toilet or whatever. But anyways, I'm going to react to it, to the video right now. Respawn, if you're watching this, don't get into what I'm saying.
My first video out on the Blue J33 ARG. I didn't expect them to keep uploading more videos. I thought we had solved the mystery, but clearly I thought wrong, as a few more videos appeared on the channel, and with the knowledge that we have from the first video, we'll pick up where we left off in the first part. I highly encourage you to watch that video first before watching this one, as there's a lot of information that needs to be understood to understand the videos
works pretty good,
then
I'm gonna move this right where I am.
We begin.
Sorry about the lag.
Appears to be a snowy.
I gotta go back a little bit so the audio can fix itself a little.
Watch that video first before watching this one, as there's a lot.
Just gonna pause it for a second. So sorry about the subtitles. I was watching a movie with a friend, and I'm at a friend's place, but I ain't gonna say the location. This is the new location where I'm recording.
Of information that needs to be understood to understand the videos we're about to
and I ain't gonna say my friend's name because I'll just link.
We begin the video in what appears to be a snowy area that seems to represent the afterlife, with two flowers, an orange flower on the left and a yellow flower on the right. Yellow text on screen reads, "Why did you forgive me?" This is Plu represented in yellow text, and she seems to be talking to Reepoch, represented in orange text. The conversation goes as follows. "You apologized sincerely. You accepted your mistakes and took responsibility. Tried to make amends. You also showed it through actions. You climbed that mountain to face your mistakes head on. I forgive you." "No. No. You won't forgive me. Hold it against me forever. I deserve it. Never forgive me for taking your life." Reepoch doesn't know what to say to that at first, but then says, "You want me to hold a grudge forever? I can move on, Blue Jay. I can find happiness with or without you in this world. I understand why it happened now. You were having a schizophrenic episode. You cried after you realized what you did to me, but for a while, that didn't matter to me. I wanted you dead. So I'm sorry." After a long silence between the two, we see they say something very important.
If Respawn's gonna react to this part 2, then go to 1:30
marking the end
to
of
skip
the video.
the intro.
This was a very nice video. This is confirmation that they both were able to forgive, with Reepoch being able to forgive Plu for his death, and Plu being able to forgive
I'll put that in the
herself and
description.
Reepoch for the hatred that he harbored. The description of the video reads, "End 1. This is very interesting, as this could mean that there's multiple endings to the story, but we don't want to assume this too quickly. If we assume this is the case, this could be the ending where Plu really does join Reepoch in the Beyond, but nonetheless, they were able to forgive. We can only keep watching the videos for now, as we click on the next video titled, Water Under the Bridge." We begin the video on the hilltop, where Plu seems to have just planted the orange flower next to the beehive. Plu climbs up the hill, reaches another area of it, then seems to be preparing to jump off it, as they try to get a running start a couple of times, then make the jump. We hear a monitor flatline sound as the screen goes black, but if you have captions enabled, we see some interesting captions. "I don't want you to dispose of your life like this. It isn't time for the Beyond." This must be Reepoch, who still wants Plu to keep on living and not to end her life prematurely. When we read this, the heartbeat sound comes back. no longer on a flat line, and we see Plu just take a bit of damage in game. She walks back to the area with the orange flower and beehive before we cut to black, and we see that Plu is walking back to their old house, looking at the remains of it as it was burned down. Plu looks around, noticing a big hole where the ladder underneath their bed was. They make their way down into the hole and climb down the ladder. We cut to
Sorry
black
if this
again,
is a bit
and we see
loud.
captions once again from Reepak saying, "It's okay. It'll be okay." We cut to Plu reaching the bottom of the ladder, heading to the bedrock wall with torches on it. Plu stares at the wall, but she's mainly focused on the 2 blue torches surrounded by all the green ones. Plu then heads back up the ladder, but she stops when she spots some copper ore. She takes her diamond pickaxe from her inventory and begins mining the copper ore, mining just about all of it. She continues on the ladder for a bit, then mines more copper, taking as much as she can with her. We cut to black again, and more captions appear. "I promise." We cut back to Plu climbing the ladder again, reaching the top. And when she looks up, we see an oxidized copper altar that holds an orange flower and a yellow flower. Plu stares at it for a bit, taking it in. She then begins offering up the copper ore that she mined. She stares at it again before saying, "Thank you." She sits on the pause screen for a moment, marking the end of the video. The description of the video reads, N2. It's very interesting because
I'm gonna pause this for a moment. We're like literally 4 minutes in, but I'm gonna say, hope you like, subscribe, and you can just do anything. You can unsubscribe if you want. It's totally fine with me.
we do see that Plu did try to take her own life by jumping off the hill, but Reepak wanted her to live since he felt it wasn't her time to join him in the beyond. With this in mind, and if we want to believe there's multiple endings, this appears to be the good ending, where Plu is able to continue living after everything that happened, and Reepak seems to be in full support of it. It seems like the events of N1 still did happen, but it may have happened while Plu was flatlining. There's still some more videos to watch to see if there's any other information we can gather, so we click on the next video titled Flatlined. We begin the video with Plu seeming to create the same world again with the same seed, as the spawn area is exactly the same. Plu wanders around before we cut and see her making her way to the same area that she built her house before. She begins to get wood, then cuts it again, and we see her navigating through some snow, appearing in front of a beehive where she planted the orange flower originally. She looks at the beehive, looks at where the flower should have been. She then begins to head down the hill slowly, looking around, and begins digging up grass. We then cut again and we see Plu building the new house. Plu goes to get more wood and builds the house up even more. Eventually, it starts to get dark as Plu continues working on the house. They complete the house. They make a crafting table, place down some wildflowers and saplings, then head back inside. They stand on the corner for a bit, then they appear to want to type something for a while, before slowly typing, "I was," and then they remove the message, marking the end of this video. The description of this video is very interesting when compared to what seems to be a relatively normal video.
Sorry,
Water
went down the wrong pipe.
"I was forgiven. I miss him though, but I'll reunite when it's time for my road to end. N2 must have been real, but I swear N1, maybe both." This does seem to play into the possibility that there could be different possible endings based on what you believe happened, but it's extremely interesting that Plu knows about both of these endings, as they explicitly state N1 and N2. We'll switch gears because this is when I noticed that Plu actually had some posts on their channel that we'll go through to see if they contain any important information. We see the first post is a screenshot from a video titled Escape, and it contains the following text. "At first, I wasn't sure which end I hallucinated and which was real."
Respawn. You sneaky bugger.
Here's because this is when I noticed that Plu actually had some posts on their channel that we'll go through to see if they contain any important information. We see the first post is a screenshot from a video.
You sneaky guy. Multiple endings. I really hope that's the case. I want there to be a good ending. Got it. Who?
Titled Escape, and it contains the following text. "At first, I wasn't sure which end I hallucinated and which was real, but I did know which one I wished for." The next post reads, "The truth is, it's only one road." Then they leave a comment underneath it saying, "I think I'm ready to keep walking on my road. I'll remember my past as how the road is there in the first place." This seems to be Plu's way of forgiving herself and moving forward, but never forgetting what happened. The next post reads, "I was worried for a while that it was a hallucination, but I'm glad it isn't. I'm glad my path was made. I'm glad I found a way to move on and find forgiveness." Me too. I'm glad that she was able to move on and find forgiveness. But when we see the comments, it seems like she didn't leave one. It's the end of a YouTube URL, and the last part asks, what if? What if what exactly? We can only watch the video to find out. By pasting the URL into a web browser, we're taken to a video titled, Anti-Site, Fake, Dream, No, Please, Sorry, Forgive, Thank You, Road.
Damn.
We begin the video with my ears getting destroyed, and me almost having a heart attack as we hear someone screaming as Plu jumps off the hill. We see that the footage is heavily glitched as well. We then move to an image from the Beyond video, which is also heavily glitched. But then what comes next is very interesting. We see that the text Plu was trying to write by saying I was appears to actually be finished by the YouTube video title of the video called Flatlined. We then see the statement from the Wikipedia page that we read earlier about ions show up very briefly, which reads, "The future is a returning version of the past." We then cut to a cave where Plu ends up finding all the copper blocks as she goes underwater. We then cut to Repok's only public video on the channel, where they say that copper would look much better here, and we see it glitching out pretty hard. We see the statement about ions show up again very briefly. Then we cut to where Plu was stuck mining out the copper structure for 12 days, as Repok says that he'll enjoy her struggling. We then cut briefly to the wall of torches on the bedrock wall. We see the statement about ions show up again very briefly. Then we cut to Plu escaping the copper structure with it turning red for a moment. Then we cut to her finding the same copper structure, as this is a clip from the Seeing Things video. We see the statement about ions show up again very briefly, but this time, we see that they begin to change into two different colors, with the future turning yellow and the past turning orange, mainly to symbolize Plu and Repok respectively. We then quickly see the forgive message that was asked in the Seeing Things video, and with that, this marks the end of the video. This video was extremely chaotic, with a bunch of different clips from the various videos that we've seen so far. The only way to even make some sense of it is by looking at the description of the video, which reads, "A bad dream, and 3. It's possible that Plu hallucinated everything and that none of this was ever even real, because we do get confirmation that Plu does take anti-psych medicine, and this is also further confirmed by the fact that Repok mentions that Plu was having a schizophrenic episode during the time that Repok fell and drowned. However, the way that post was worded using what if makes me wonder if this is just a what if scenario. We simply don't know, but I do believe it could be a valid interpretation based on what we know about Plu. With that crazy video watched, there's one more post to look at. The next post has another YouTube URL, and if we paste it into a web browser, it leads us to a song called All I Think About Now by Pixies. Very nice song, by the way, but I can't play it because of the YouTube copyright stuff. What I'm more interested in is the lyrics themselves.
I do not like that copyright
I'll put
thing.
them on screen now for you to read if you like, but the lyrics seem to suggest that the song is very nostalgic and sad, thinking about the past when they were happy, but also when things didn't last, wanting to go back to the beginning and try to find another way to make the future better. This is a very good summary of what Plu feels when she realizes what she had done, despite it not necessarily being her fault. She wishes that she could change the past so there might be a future where Repok is still alive. With all of the posts out of the way, all we can do now is go back to Plu's channel, and we click on the next video titled Untitled. We begin the video with slightly discolored footage of Plu walking outside of the house, and we see that they're in F1 mode, as there's no hand, no hotbar, no HUD at all. If you have captions on, we also see the number 6 is at the bottom. This could be a reference to Repok, as they do have 2 6s in their name, but it's not too certain, but it does stay on screen for the entire video. Plu sees a bunch of weird copper pathways and begins breaking through some of them. They seem to be trying to get to the bottom of the weird copper paths as they keep breaking blocks, going lower and lower, and trying to navigate through this weird copper world. At 4 minutes and 24 seconds, they attempt to jump to another pathway, but they end up missing, falling into the void as their screen turns a bright yellow color. We cut to black and they reappear near their house, which is at the top of the copper pathway. They begin again, going down to try to get somewhere at the bottom, and at 5 minutes 24 seconds, we eventually see that they make it pretty low. They follow an abnormal path of copper out from the main area, and eventually stop to watch the sunrise. We see that it slowly turns from a black sky to a nice orange color, eventually turning into a blue color, and Plu keeps watching the sunrise until the end of the video. The description reads, "A weird dream I keep having. I think this is supposed to represent Repok in a way, with all the copper pathways and with Repok's favorite color being orange, which we see for a good bit while watching the sunrise. I still think the number 6 is also meant to represent Repok, as they're the ones with 6s in their username. This also appears to be a dream that Plu's having after building the new house, as the crafting table and the doorway have the same sort of placements. With this, all we can do is keep watching, as we click on the next video titled, June 15th, 2021. We begin the video from Plu's perspective, and I can only describe it as a fever dream. We see Plu wandering around the very strange world, with colors very distorted. Throughout the video, we see the landscape change every so often, from chaotic and frantic to something much more calming. It really is a strange video, and there's not much else I can really say on it other than the fact that it really is a fever dream. The description of the video reads, "I should have stopped the stuff before I started hallucinating. That day was my fault." It's no coincidence that the title of the video is June 15th, 2021, the day that the tragic event occurred. The video we just watched was the perspective of what Plu was seeing during our schizophrenic episode, possibly upscaled in severity if we believe Plu was also doing powder at the time. Plu still believes it's her fault with what happened, despite there being forgiveness already. With that crazy trip out of the way, we move on to the next video titled, Try. We begin the video with Plu standing still for a bit inside of their new home. They eventually walk outside and look around, then they wander around for a bit. However, the gameplay feels odd, like they're not all there, especially when being attacked by a spider and not immediately running away or fighting it. It almost seems like they're playing with one hand for a moment, or just seem very out of it. Plu gets back in the house and blocks the entrance, and they begin typing out some messages. "I told myself I'd move on, but I can't. I may just have..." So it seems like Plu is still struggling to move on after everything, which even with forgiveness from Reepoch and forgiving herself is understandable. She gets her health back up and goes outside again, punches some trees, and then says, "It's a lot to take in." She wanders around aimlessly, punches more trees, and finds some water flowing down a hillside. They climb up it and then say, "I keep having weird dreams." This is most likely a reference to the untitled video with copper pathways. Eventually, we find Plu inside of a cave, wandering aimlessly again. Then, something interesting happens. Plu actually falls inside of the cave and a death screen appears, but when they respawn, we hear odd beeping noises.
Morse code?
We'll look at this a bit later. Plu heads away from the spawn point of the world, walking through the forest, still kind of appearing out of it.
Maybe.
They collect some berries, plant them, then destroy them, marking the end of the video. It's understandable that Plu might not be able to feel like they've truly moved on, as it's much easier said than done, even after forgiving themselves, and even with Reepoch forgiving her. It may not be enough to fully move on from what happened, especially with having to live with the lasting effects of June 15th, 2021, where our life was removed from the world. What I'm more interested in is the odd beeping noise that we hear. It doesn't sound like Morse code, but if we put it through a spectrogram, we get...
Oh, it's not Morse. Another YouTube URL.
It almost seems like a YouTube end URL, but some of the letters and or numbers are cut off, making it sort of difficult to determine what the cutoff values are. I tried everything that I could to figure out what the cutoff values were. Maybe I was just overcomplicating it or something, but I just couldn't find a video with the proper values. That's when I asked all of you to see if anyone out there will be willing to help, and YouTube user Little Satellite Antenna stepped up to the plate and got it solved. They let me know what the combination was, and it actually worked, so shout out to them for helping me out with it and basically saving this video. Putting in the YouTube and URL piece they found, it leads us to an unlisted video titled Diary. We begin the video with what appears to be right after the untitled video, where Plu had the dream about the copper pathways. She still seems to be staring at the rising sun for a while. And then we get to a point where we realize that we're actually underneath the copper pathway, standing upside down, watching the sunset and the moon rise. Plu misses a jump and reappears on the copper pathway, appearing to be right side up this time. Plu makes her way around the copper pathways for a while, and eventually she misses another jump. We stay on the black screen for a bit before Plu respawns during the day, and again they watch the sun for a long time, marking the end of the video.
Flashbang.
This seems to be a continuation of their copper dreams, but the video itself doesn't really seem to show us much of
Oh
anything.
god, flashbang
However,
again.
the description is the more interesting of the two. We see there's an absolutely
Please
giant
do a warning.
which if we throw into a binary to text converter, we can decode it, and once we do,
Please
hit the
do a
following message.
freaking warning in the
Okay,
beginning.
Not what I expected, but the last word seems to suggest that it's a visionary cipher, which is a cipher that requires a key in order to decrypt it. The obvious question here is, what is the key to decrypt the message? I tried the title of the video, Diary. It didn't give me anything. Trying the word visionary also didn't give me anything. Copper gave me nothing. Then I searched up an automatic visionary cipher solver, which told me the key was soul. Putting in that key gives us this very bittersweet message. I suffered a coma after a suicide attempt. I died. During that time, I talked to Reepoch. He said he forgave me. The doctor soon then brought me back. My brain struggles to tell if this was true or false due to my condition, but I feel like a weight lifted off my shoulders, even if I hallucinated it all. I finally learned how to move on and keep walking down my road without the heavy burden of guilt weighing me down. Thank you for everything, Reepoch. I love you, and I hope to see you again at the end of the road. This seems to be further confirmation that Plu did indeed try to end her life early. saying that she's unsure if she actually
So,
talked to Reebok or not during the time
so
that she
this
was dead
part's
before
like
being
technically
confined.
like the
Regardless if it was real or not,
beyond
Blue
because
seemed to finally learn how to
he's
move on,
you
which we do appear to
saw
see,
Reebok.
but we do know that she's struggling to
So that
truly move
means the
on, which
beyond
is
is
understandable.
with that
After watching this video,
when
this is when I
she
realized
was
that there was a
riding.
playlist tab on Blue's channel, which hadn't been there in the past. Clicking on it, it shows us a bunch of songs, but towards the bottom of the playlist, we see a video from Blue called Confession. We click on it, unsure of what we're about to hear. We begin the video by opening up to a black screen with Morse code playing in the background. It goes on for the entire video, so there's a message hidden in Morse code. If we download the audio and put it into a Morse code adaptive audio decoder, we see that it translates into an absolutely horrifying message. I stabbed Reebok. He said he disappeared not for me rejecting him, but because of his own struggles. My condition caused me to take advantage of him using this, and after he asked me out, I knew that he would be an easy kill. This is absolutely evil. However, it's important to remember that this is coming from someone with schizophrenia, so while we can't confirm or deny that this is the absolute truth due to how they perceive reality, it has the possibility to drastically change what we believe happened on the bridge on June 15th, 2021. There's two possibilities that I see stemming from this. The first is that we believe the confession. Blue was fully in control of her actions, planning to carry this out. And when she did eventually stab him on June 15th, 2021, it could explain her laughing about it, and it could explain why Reebok was bleeding in the water. While we don't have any autopsy reports, surely the police recovered the body and there would have been a visible stab wound somewhere on Reebok's body if Blue did do that. But there's been no mention of that so far. You could make the argument that Blue maybe ditched the weapon somewhere and covered her trail so it didn't seem like she had any involvement, but it's hard to say for sure without more conclusive evidence. The second possibility is that we can't fully believe her confession. As stated previously, we don't have autopsy reports, so it's hard to truly confirm if there was a stabbing or not. She also did appear to be hallucinating on that day based on her June 15th, 2021 video. So again, we just don't know for sure if her confession is the truth or the full truth based on what she perceived as reality that day. It's likely that this could be another scenario similar to the different endings we see, where depending on what you believe, the events of June 15th, 2021 play out a bit differently, and the context for the rest of the story is drastically different. With this information, we then move on to the next video titled, What Happens When Memories Fade Away. We begin the video with Blue climbing up a hill as they make their way back home. They pass their house and instead seem to go back to where the water is, climbing up the water. They climb to the top of the hill and they see a massive hole. They continue wandering around for a good while, not really seeming like they have a destination in mind. Eventually, it starts getting dark and they say, I'm not having fun. I don't feel passion. Everything is dull. They keep walking, only to fall down a hill and end up back at the spot again. However, they instead decide to check out the nearby cave and find some copper, trying to mine it with their fists before giving up. Blue heads into the cave and gets killed by a zombie and respawns, marking the end of this video. It's an odd video for sure, as it shows that Blue just doesn't seem to have fun in Minecraft anymore. There's no passion when they play the game and everything seems to be dull for them. It clearly shows that she's just not able to fully move on. With this, we move on to the next video titled, Something Off My Chest. We begin the video with Blue walking around at night, not really seeming to have a destination in mind. She still seems to be sort of out of it, not really having fun playing Minecraft. A spider then attacks her, and she ends up retreating into a cave in order to try to get away from the spider. However, the spider is able to follow her down, but Blue is able to kill the spider. Blue says they still hate fighting in this game. They try to continue down a path in the cave but spot a creeper, so they go another way. They leave the cave and make their way back home, but have to evade another spider. They evade the spider for a bit, but then they have to fight the spider, and they do slay it, but barely. They watch the sunrise as the sky is an orange color for a bit, then it slowly changes to blue. Blue keeps watching the sunrise for a while, and looks around at the scenery around them. They stare off in the distance for a while, and they leave the world. But before the video ends, we actually get what appears to be a recording of the screen off a camera or a phone. And if you look in the corners of the screen, we see the following text. Even when you tell yourself it's all over, tears fall sometimes. And that's okay. This final message marks the end of the video. This is more reinforcement of the idea that while she's been forgiven and when it truly is all over, she's still trying to move on. It is difficult. It is a process. And it's not something that just happens overnight. She still does appear to be healing, and at least she knows that it's okay if tears do fall, even when it is all over. This leads us to the last public video on the channel, titled Thank You. We click on it, realizing that this journey is coming to a close.
It's only 26 seconds.
The video is no longer in Minecraft. It's in real life, as it's footage of a tree. It's a very short video, only 25 seconds long. and the entire video is
26.
focused around this tree. The description of the video reads, "I'm going up the stairs. I'll keep going until I find the top. I don't know what to expect, but that's okay. I just need to watch my step. Reebok." This seems to be in reference to a post made of a copper staircase that goes up into the clouds and into the sky, and it seems like this is a message to Reebok. With this video, I think it's safe to say that Blue has finally found the courage to move forward with her life, to no longer feel stuck and trapped, as she's able to finally step away from the world of Minecraft and go outside to experience the real world. This ARG was phenomenal, and I am very happy that I found it. I'm glad that Blue was able to move on in her own way, despite the struggles that she faced all throughout this process. I really hope that she's able to find happiness, and I hope that Reebok is doing okay in the beyond. Keep your head high, Blue, as you climb the copper stairs. Moving on is absolutely okay, but never forget the stairs that you've climbed so far to get to where you are right now. I really hope you enjoyed this video. There will be a supercut version of this ARG to combine parts 1 and 2 together, and there will be corrections made to part 1 and possibly this part as well. But the supercut will be released if you want to experience everything in one cohesive video. If you enjoyed this video and are looking forward to the supercut, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe so you never miss the next upload. Thank you all for the support of these videos, by the way, as I really do appreciate it and enjoy making these videos for you all. My name is Respawn Raccoon, and I'll see you in the next.
And that is the end of the video. So hopefully you'll like the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Respawns. So hopefully you all have a nice day. Good